I feel very fortunate to arrive at this particular position on the calendar of my life. And no, the short answer is no. It's this is an award, I must say, that I have coveted for many years, ever since Joseph Papp won the very first Will Award. It's always been something that I've aspired to, and I'm just happy that it finally happened while I'm still alive. Well, I don't think people like to be defined exclusively in those terms necessarily, because you don't really know why people are saying that about you. If it's for your accomplishments, it's a wonderful thing, yeah. But I've often rejected the whole notion of awards, and because I've often felt that they distort the perspective that an actor has about his work. Can do so, I think, and I know there are many actors who feel that way. As I've grown older, I've changed my tune. I'm very excited about it. It's a great award. I feel very honored to share it with John Hurt and Diana Rigg. And they're wonderful, wonderful actors that I've long admired, and it's a great honor, and I'm very happy. Well, when I started, my dad was an actor, and he was very much against my going into this business. He thought that it was, fraught with all kinds of insecurities, as it is, and that I should be a doctor or a lawyer. I shouldn't follow in his footsteps. But it was not meant to be. But I wanted to pursue the classical realm, and he was also not very happy about that. He thought that was very impractical in terms of making a living, and it is. But somebody has to do it. Most actors, I think, are probably known from whatever their film work is or their television work is. And, except I think, there is a certain breed of actor among whom I'm sharing this award tonight, who really are passionate about the theater. And the theater's it's a mainstay for their soul. They have to do that, and I'm one of those. The working in front of a live audience and being able to play a character beginning, middle, and end without breaking it up into 100,000 pieces. I think those are tributes to my training as an actor, and I went to Lambda, and so maybe I'm overtrained. Certainly am. For film and television, I think John Huston, one of my very favorite people. You mentioned his name, and I become him. He was a great man. I'm deeply honored that I got a chance to work with him. Yeah, he was extraordinary. Well, I met them on my opening night of my very first professional show, which was Hamlet in New York. But I wasn't playing Hamlet in those days. I was playing Marcellus and the Player King. But they came backstage because Richard Burton was playing Hamlet on Broadway. And Robert Burr, his understudy, Richard Burton's understudy, had come to take over for our Hamlet. At the time it was Alfred Ryder, who was indisposed, and so Robert Burr, Richard Burton's understudy, was our Hamlet. And he came to the opening night, came backstage and greeted all of us, and we were all thrilled. Yes, Paul, I love him. I had a wonderful time with Paul. We did The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean together, and we became very good friends. And I was going to do another picture with him, a race car picture. That he was always passionate about race cars, and it never came to pass. And I was always very sorry about that. But he was a great man, and he gave a lot to younger actors, and his wife Joanne as well. Oh my gosh. The Big O. I was so intimidated the first time I met Orson because he was such a legend, and I thought perhaps, I didn't quite know how to react to him. I didn't know if I should genuflect or, I wasn't sure. But I had such a great time with him, and we spent some wonderful hours together. The interesting about Orson, he never liked to discuss his own work. I was, of course, as a young actor, I wanted to know about how he did this and that and everything else. But he didn't really, he was very reticent about talking about his work. He wouldn't talk about me, and he knew a lot of it. I mean, I was stunned, but I loved him. He was such a, he was a piece of work. He was never satisfied with his own work either. I mean, the one picture I did with him, he had somebody holding up his line. He was playing a judge in Butterfly, a movie I did with Pisadora, and he was unsure of his lines, and he had somebody, a prompter, holding up his lines next to the camera. And when we finally got down to shooting the actual take, he knew it cold. He didn't need, Barney was his name, I'll never forget. He said, Barney, move to the right, a little bit to the right. That's fine, I don't need you now, Barney. And he knew every single word. He was an amazing man. I was just thrilled that I had the privilege of working with him. I'm a keyboard guy. I play the keyboard and I compose music. I write music, and I spend most of my morning working on the piano. I go to the pool and swim. We're at the Motion Picture Hall, and they have a wonderful Olympic-sized pool that's easy to get in and out of. So I go over there and try to keep myself in shape. I like to play golf. And I, depending on what I'm working on at that time, if it's a movie or a television script, or if it's a play, theatrical piece, I spend a good part of the day working, on that. That's kind of my day. And then my friends are from all walks of life. And, no, I don't. My wife, I've been married for 30 years almost, 28, 30 years. And my wife has she's Polish, and she has lots of Polish friends. They come over to the house, so I spend a lot of time with them too. I guess most people know me from my camera. I mean, in the old days, back in the 80s, I played that detective on television, because television has such a wide berth and such a wide spectrum. In the theater, it's hard to say, because I've done Lear and I've done Hamlet, and I want to do Lear again. I'm not satisfied with the last couple of productions. It's been wonderful, but I would like to get to, I don't think I was, it's one of those parts that you never get right. You just keep working at it, but you never really feel like you've accomplished, you never really hit the pinnacle of that particular, because it's just so rich and so deep. Oh my gosh, that's an impossible question to answer. As I was growing up, Olivier was certainly a model that I aspired, that he was a great inspiration for me, but there were so many other, I guess, Marlon Brando, James Dean. It's a tough one. George Scott, I had the pleasure of working with. Wonderful actors, But I don't think of myself in those terms. I think of myself really just as a working actor.